Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Art Therapy with Mindsoul Meditations. Before we get started, let's take a moment to take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And another one. Today, we're exploring a topic that can make our palms sweat and our hearts race: overcoming fears. It's different from simply avoiding what scares us, and I'll explain why that distinction matters. Overcoming fears is about facing our anxieties head on, understanding them, and gradually building the courage to move past them. It's acknowledging that fear is a natural part of being human, but not letting it dictate our lives or limit our potential. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just being brave? Well, not quite. Being brave is about acting despite fear. Overcoming fears takes it a step further. It's about transforming our relationship with fear itself. Imagine you're afraid of public speaking. Being brave might mean giving a speech despite your terror. Overcoming the fear would involve understanding why you're afraid, challenging those beliefs, and gradually becoming more comfortable with speaking in front of others. Sometimes facing our fears feels about as fun as trying to herd cats while rollerblading uphill. That's where AI art can be a real game changer. It can help you visualize and process your fears when your mind is spinning like a hamster wheel on espresso. Creating art with AI can be like giving your fears a makeover. It allows you to express and externalize your anxieties in ways that might be hard to articulate verbally. You can create images that represent both your fears and your courage to face them. Engaging with this kind of art can help rewire your brain, making the process of overcoming fears feel more tangible and achievable. It's like building a fear-busting superhero suit. The more you work on it, the stronger and more confident you become. Here are some ideas for artwork that could represent overcoming fears. A person stepping through a shadowy doorway, emerging from the darkness. A small boat navigating stormy seas, with a lighthouse appearing in the distance. A horrendous monster that is tiny while a woman stands tall and looks down at it. A woman walking through a dark forest with a patch of light up ahead. You can get a bit dark and literally depict the things you fear or representations of them. Remember, overcoming fears is a process, not an event. It's okay if it feels challenging or if you have setbacks. You're rewiring years of ingrained responses, and that takes time and patience. I hope that exploring your fears through AI art helps you build a braver, more resilient you. It's been an incredible tool in my own journey, and I believe it can be for you too. Remember, every step you take towards your fears is a victory. You've got this, and your courage is stronger than any fear. In today's special segment, I am presenting a curated collection of artwork by the art community on X, formerly known as Twitter, that was created specifically for this episode. Please enjoy this brief presentation of their art, showcasing the inspiring direction these artists took when crafting their visions of fear. So today, as we deal with the topic of overcoming fears, I'd like to do a brief meditation before we hear from our special guest. So today's meditation I call an artist's healing meditation. So I'd like you to find a comfortable position and close your eyes. We'll take 3 deep, grounding breaths. Feel yourself melt into that final breath. Imagine yourself in a vast, open studio with sunlight streaming through large windows. Around you are scattered, broken things. Shattered glass, rusted metal fragments, broken and discarded toys, jewelry, torn paper, discarded objects that others might see as worthless or damaged. These are your fears, your trauma, fragmented pieces that once felt sharp, dangerous, and overwhelming. Your hands begin to move, slowly, deliberately. You're not avoiding the broken pieces. You're not running from them. Instead, you're picking them up, examining each fragment with compassion. No judgment, just gentle curiosity. Some pieces have jagged edges. Some are smooth. Some reflect light in unexpected ways. You start to arrange them, not to hide their brokenness, but to honor their journey. Sculpture, a mosaic, begins to take shape. Each fragment finds its place, not erased, not forgotten, simply transformed. The artwork emerging is not about perfection. It's about integration, about creating something beautiful from what was once painful. The cracks are visible. They tell a story of survival, of resilience. As you continue arranging, you feel a deep sense of power. These fragments no longer control you. You are the artist. You are creating meaning. Your breath moves with your hands, steady, intentional, healing. When the artwork feels complete, step back. Look at what you've created. Feel the profound truth. You can transform pain. You can create beauty from brokenness. Whisper to yourself, I am stronger than what broke me. Feel it deep in your abdomen. I am stronger than what broke me. When you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Today's special guest is someone I had the privilege of meeting on the social platform Farcaster. I had been following Alice Died through several common artist collectives we are both a part of. One day he shared one of his passion projects, and I was absolutely in awe and appreciation of the work he was doing. I immediately reached out and asked that we please collaborate for this episode. It brings me great joy and pleasure to introduce him. Felix, known by the pseudonym Alice Died, is a versatile artist from Mannheim, Germany. His work reflects a profound transformation. He originally signed his pieces as Alice D. Summer, but with the beginning of his healing process, the colors of summer and joy faded from his life. Instead, fear and depression shaped his unique, dark yet colorful style, which delves deeply into human emotions. The constant part of his name, Alice D., is a deliberate nod to Alice in Wonderland, LSD, and layers of deeper interpretation. Felix combines analog and digital media to create multi-layered artworks that bring societal reflection and inner transformation into focus. I can't wait for you to hear about his project that left me both stunned and excited. Let's listen to him share his story.
Hi, my name is Felix, and I'm an artist based in Mannheim, Germany. I go by the pseudonym Alice Died, which reflects a very personal journey. Originally, I signed my works as Alice D. Summer, painting in bright and playful colors, free like a child. But it never felt as honest or genuine as the works I created later as Alice Died. During a pivotal phase in my life, the colors of summer and joy within me disappeared, replaced by fear and depression. This emotional transformation gave birth to my distinct, dark yet colorful style, which now defines my work. Today, I want to share my project, Trauma in a Box, a deeply personal collection of sculptures that explores trauma, fear, and the path to healing. Each box represents a fragment of my story and a reflection of the universal struggle with anxiety. For this project, I aim to make the intangible tangible and open a space for dialogue about mental health. The individual sculptures and figures that make up Trauma in a Box were created during the early stages of my therapy. Over time, making these pieces became a vital way for me to process my emotions and confront my inner struggles. Each sculpture holds a fragment of the journey, a moment captured in material form. I started creating these boxes as a form of therapy using recycled materials and objects that felt discarded, just like how I felt at the time. After more than 5 years of intense work, I transformed this large collection of artworks into a new final creation by enclosing them in boxes. Sealing them this way was symbolic. It represented acceptance, closure, and the act of containing something that once felt uncomfortable. Boxes became physical manifestations of my inner world, chaotic yet structured, broken yet rebuilt. The crowning pieces are, of course, the boxes from which a plant sprouts in the center, an ultimate representation of time, granting me both the patience and space needed for my healing process. The process of creating these boxes is chaotic, overwhelming, and never curated or carefully selected. I work intuitively, letting the materials guide me rather than following a strict concept. Discarded objects such as clocks, mirrors, scroll pods, and chemical vials find their place organically, creating layers of meaning that emerge from the evolving artwork itself. I begin by collecting whatever resonates with me emotionally. Broken items, forgotten pieces, things that seem lifeless. Each object holds symbolic potential, even if its meaning only becomes clear later. The selection is never deliberate, which mirrors the chaotic and unpredictable nature of trauma and memory. Once gathered, I assemble the materials into a box, layering them to create depth, tension, and narrative. The goal is to capture the complexity of trauma while allowing space for interpretation. The contrast between light and dark, soft and hard, is ever present, a reflection of the duality between fear and hope. The entire process is raw, emotional, and cathartic, balancing destruction and creation in a deeply personal ritual. If I could give one piece of advice to anyone wanting to create their own box, it would be this: let go of perfection. Trauma and fear are messy, chaotic, and often don't make sense. Let your art reflect that. Don't be afraid to use unconventional materials or to let your emotions guide you. Creating these boxes taught me that fear doesn't have to paralyze us. It can be transformed into something meaningful, even beautiful. Art is a powerful tool for self-discovery, and I hope others can find healing through it as I did. Trauma in a Box, or Tina BOX for short, plays with the Web3 reference OX, commonly associated with blockchain wallets. This symbolizes the permanent storage of the artworks, and by extension, the traumas they represent on the blockchain preserved forever. Creating this collection has not only helped me process my own experiences, but also allowed me to connect with others who share similar struggles. It's a reminder that we are not alone in our fears, and that even the darkest moments can inspire transformation. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope my journey inspires you to embrace your own fears and turn them into something that empowers you. What would your box look like? What story would it tell?
So welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to do our artwork based on the Tina box. So trauma and fear are deeply interconnected psychological experiences that can significantly impact our mental health and our behavior. So we're going to create our own box. Now you may want to physically create your own box, but if not, then what we can do is create one with a prompt. So I want you to take a few minutes and write down some objects and things that can represent your fears and your traumas. So I ran a few tests creating the prompt, and we can take a look at the prompt itself, and we'll look at how our boxes should look. So we'll just grab this prompt here at the top. I have a fear of spiders, so the first one is spiders. So you're going to create a clear box filled with symbolic discarded items, trash art, with items in the box such as, and this is where you're going to put down your list of things. So I just put some random objects. I put in a toy soldier, a creepy toy spider, I am afraid of spiders, webbing, hair baubles or hair ties, however you call them, an old VHS cassette with the tape pulled out. And I want to fill the gaps with wire and broken computer parts with melted wax over everything. So I want this whole thing to be in the style of a photographic close-up. A side view looking into the box, like an aquarium of discarded memories, messy and chaotic. And bokeh background means that my background should be kind of blurred, so it's not really much focus on what's happening in the background. So here I have a couple of boxes that I've made. I did a few of them to test them out with different objects in them. This is probably one of my favorite ones here. So you're going to create your own version of this because I don't want you to use what I've put in. You're going to think about things that can represent those parts of your life where you've experienced trauma, where you currently experience fear, the things that sort of hold you back in life, the things that cause you some pain when you think back on them. These might be things from childhood, they might be things that are recent. Um, a separation or a loss of somebody could be part of what's in your box. Frustration and anger at things that are happening in your workplace and society. Whatever you feel that you need to put in your box, what makes sense to you, that's what you're going to put into your prompt. So I'm going to try one more. We've seen some examples, but I'm going to just do one together. And this portion of the lesson is actually going to remain pretty short today so that you can spend that time working on your own project. So I'm going to change my items. I do like the idea of melted wax over everything, so I'm going to leave that. I am going to fill the gaps still with wire and broken computer parts. So I'm going to change, I'm going to do a doll head covered in lipstick. And I'm going to use that to represent when I was in my teens. I was awkward and felt ugly and got bullied for my appearance because I had acne. And so that's what my doll head covered in lipstick will represent. I'm going to add also a broken dollhouse with a mouse in it. And that's actually representative, personal story here. It represents fighting with my brother. And I know that may sound odd, but when I was a child, I had a recurring nightmare of being inside a dollhouse with my brother, and we were just fighting and fighting and fighting, and then the house started to crumble, and then I was outside the house looking in at these two little mice that were fighting and bringing down the house. So that's what that comes from, and that's my personal piece that I'm going to contribute to this one. And let's see what else we can add to that. I'm going to add rusty hairspray can. That's to represent my teen years. I'm going to add a ripped and moldy fedora because I wear a fedora often. When I was in my 20s, I dressed quite a bit in sort of a grunge vintage style. And I want to capture sort of my university years when I did have some traumatic events. And so my last one is the dried up and squished tubes of paint. And they represent my own fears of perhaps not being good enough with my art, that my art won't be liked. And so that's always a fear that I'm carrying. So I'm going to include that in there as well. And I'm leaving in the gaps with the wire and broken computer parts because there's always some fear about having to deal with new technology moving forward. Am I leading edge enough? Do I have the right skills that I still need to be successful while moving forward? So I'm going to run this one and see what we get. I'm on an aspect ratio of, I'm going to stick with the 16:9, and let's see what my prompt looks like. So I've got a couple that came back. So in this one I can see the dollhouse, the mouse, the doll head, a squished up hat, some hairspray. Let's check the next one. I really like this one here. It's not quite a fedora, but I like this one. This one's a little bit creepy even. This one's pretty good too. You know what? I'm happy with all of them. I think this one here might be my favorite though. So I'd like you to create your own Tina box. If you feel comfortable sharing your artwork and the story behind it, I would love for you to join us in the space so that we can share those experiences together and heal together. So I'm going to finish this lesson with a reminder of some of the words that Felix shared with us.
Let go of perfection. Trauma and fear are messy, chaotic, and often don't make sense. Let your art reflect that. Don't be afraid to use unconventional materials or to let your emotions guide you. Even the darkest moments can inspire transformation.
Today's affirmation is, I have the courage to face and overcome my fears. Thank you for joining me for another day of art therapy. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you had a chance to create some really amazing art. Make sure to join me again tomorrow, and I really look forward to seeing you there.